Dan Martin on May 6th edition of Great Talk, and a lot of great talk right now about the Cardinals throughout St. Louis. People are pissed, Martin. People are pissed. It's 15-19, a whole 4 games under the 500 mark, and yet people are going crazy over this, and I get it. You know, they just dropped 2 or 3 to the White Sox, arguably the worst team in Major League Baseball. They dropped 2 or 3 to Detroit, had a chance to sweep the Mets. They didn't do it, and people are upset. Welcome to the show.
Well, I think when you play the White Sox, who are
Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're the one who came in hot.
Don't
get mad at me. I didn't do anything. You came in. I was actually this is a true story. I'm having a conversation with Dan, and he goes, 3, 2, and 1. I was like, I was freaking talking, and you started 3, 2, 1. Yeah, welcome, Dan.
Time to get it going. Let's go.
This is like the awkward radio interview where instead of the stupid hey, and how are you today? Whether it's the beat writer in Pittsburgh or the broadcaster from California, instead of saying I'm good, thanks, just get right to it.
Yeah.
But certain guests, if you get right to it. And on the line with us from Detroit, he's been covering the Lions for a long time. And let's talk about this draft pick. You took 2 kids from St. Louis. Yeah. Hey, great to be with you, Mark. And then they reset by saying, thanks for having me.
It's just not being kind.
So Dan comes in, just firing away. I wanted to talk about the Netflix roast. We'll get to that.
It's unbelievable.
It's
unbelievable.
Instead of watching me on Fox 2 last night.
I did think about switching back, but the Netflix series on Tom Brady, the roast, was just too good.
Was it live last night?
It was live on Netflix. I'm sure they'll have a condensed version that comes out, but I would assume that none of the raunchy stuff that's in there and the hilarious comedy that's in there. Comedy is not dead. If you thought it was after yesterday, what are you laughing at? Because it was awesome.
I want to see
You,
it.
of all people, would have loved it.
I absolutely. What you're texting me about, I'm like, thanks, Dan. I've got my little puppet show called Sports Final I've got to do with all the highlights of the big day and all the breakdown.
Who did you have on the program?
We featured Joaquin Buckley, who's a local kid. He's a UFC fighter. It's actually a really good story, kind of a tough background where, loses his mom at a young age. He's a wrestler at Marquette High. He's in the UFC. He's a brick. He looks like he weighs about 250. He weighs 170. He's all muscle, and he went viral a few years ago. I'm not a big MMA aficionado, but he had the most watched video ever because he does this leg kick. He knocks a guy out. It's a spin move. He flips in the air and with his left foot knocks the guy in the jaw, knocks him out. Anyway, he's a St. Louis kid. He's on the ticket.
Isn't there another St. Louis kid too? I thought there was.
Well, historically, we had Tyrone Woodley was a huge name out of St. Louis. I don't know. There probably are some others, but anyway, we featured him. We had a little Battlehawks breakdown, Dan. We had some Cardinal inside that clubhouse where they're not only looking for wins, they're looking for answers. Back to you.
Is that how you did it?
That's how I did it. Yeah, thanks for watching.
When you threw it back to Elliot.
Oh, Elliot, my TKO last night, you didn't see any of this because you were busy watching Netflix. Thanks for your support. So at the end.
So worth it, though.
I said the Cardinals have yet to win a Sunday game. Okay? They are not only 1-10 in series finales, they're 0-6 on Sunday. And I said, maybe it's just a coincidence. However, I feel like this franchise might need some divine intervention. Get it? Sundays.
Yeah, I got it.
So I turned to Elliot Davis.
So bad. Do I want to listen to that or Netflix?
Oh, shit. I turned to Elliot Davis, and he said, yeah, but even if they lose every Sunday game and they win all the rest, they'll be just fine. I'm like, well, yeah, then they'd win 120 games. I'm like, sure. And I just said, sure, sounds good. And they also had no time.
Wait a minute.
They had no time to talk.
When you said, sure, no problem, or whatever it was, does Elliot take that as a shot? Like, hey, man, you're blowing me off a little bit.
No, he doesn't notice. He's just like, all right. Coming up next, a rabbit was found in this backyard.
All right.
I don't know what it was. So anyway, the roast.
I like your hat.
Scoops, I wear it every week.
Okay, good.
Unless I forget and wear my DeSmet hat.
Yeah, I remember that.
I need some Vianney gear for Coach Walsh. But the roast of Tom Brady, why did he do this? Was it a charitable endeavor?
I think there was some money that was, if not a lot of money, raised for charity. And I think some of the roasters or maybe some of the players that were there were able to donate a portion of the night to their favorite charities.
Okay. Or they got paid to be there, then they
may have gotten paid to be
so
there.
So, like, if you're a roaster, you get paid, and then you could give it to charity kind of deal.
Kevin Hart was the host, our own St. Louis, and Nikki Glazer absolutely killed it. She was hilarious. And, I mean, it was no holds barred. It was unbelievable. I walked away just shocked.
Well, Jeffrey Ross, who I love, is the roast master general. He lives for this stuff. He does all these roasts.
He was hilarious.
Apparently, he made a Robert Kraft joke, and Brady went up to him and said, "Knock that shit off," or something. Was Brady seriously mad, do you think, or no?
It was early on, so I'm not sure he knew.
He didn't slap him like Will Smith.
No, I wonder, though, at the time I was wondering, did he realize it's going to be like this? Because that just set the tone with everything.
Everything on social media kept showing his face that he's so regretting this. You know he's not having fun. Why would he do it is the question. The Blues would have an annual roast, except nobody was willing to do it. And I'd say to Big Walt, Keith Kachuk, you need to, no frickin' way. You know what the shit they're going to say about me. And I'm like, yes, that's the whole point.
But didn't they have one?
We did a Bobby Plager one I was a part of. We did Darren Pang. But most players, like, can you imagine if Brett Hull, he'd be our equivalent of Brady. There's no way he's going to want to do it. The stuff that we're going to say about him.
It's tough, man. I mean, if you're the guy getting roasted, thick skin, number one.
Yes.
Understand, though, that this is something that's enjoyable for, and just don't take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
I mean, you know what you're walking into, and especially when you have professional comedians that are also writing the material for the players and front office people. So it's going to get nasty. It did, and it's just, it was hilarious, man.
And Belichick was funny?
Belichick was great. They actually got he, along with Robert Kraft, to come up. Kevin Hart said, come on, let's have this happen. Let's get Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick up here and do a shot. And they did. They came up together. You know, I mean, that's a fractured relationship from the outside, and they came up there.
For like a photo or something.
No, I mean, it was just like right in the middle of it.
But did Belichick do material at that point? But
I think he had done material at that point.
Because he was already, I guarantee he showed up prepared.
Absolutely. He was, and
he probably taped the rehearsal the day before when they were.
When that was brought up, all those things. And the players.
God, I would love that. I mean, I not only love to watch it, I will. I love to be a part of that stuff.
And the players went after Belichick, too. So the players.
Even better.
That's what I'm saying. It was no holds barred.
I can't wait to see it. You know, the Bobby Plager roast, this is going way back. And the Blues set it up, and Bruce Affleck said, just be funny, say whatever you want. And I said, I don't really know Bobby Plager that well. Of course, I'd been around him, been polite to him, and maybe interviewed once or twice. I just don't really know him that well. And they said, it's fine, just have fun. It's a bunch of guys. It's an alumni thing. It's, no video, whatever. So I got up there at the beginning, and I said, let me find these notes here. All right, good to be here. And I said, let's see. I said, you were a shitty husband. Your kids hate you. Your like, I go through this whole thing about how you're a horrible person, terrible person, and then he looks horrified, like he doesn't know who I am. He's like, what? And then I said, and everybody in there, it's getting really uncomfortable. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm like fumbling through my notes. I said, I am so sorry. These are the notes I had for the Bobby Hull roast, not the Bobby Plager roast. And then everybody kind of laughed. And then later, Chaser goes, hey, you asshole, Brett was going to be here. You can't say that about Bobby. And I said, Brett would have laughed at that. Yeah.
Let me say this, though, very quickly. I was so uncomfortable watching it yesterday, I was sweating.
Like, watch it. It does make you, because you're like, oh, my gosh.
It's uneasy.
Can you really say that?
Yeah.
I know. I love that kind of stuff, though. We had a Marshall Faulk roast, and Michael Irvin. So his Rocky Arsenault is Marshall's agent. The night before the roast, we go out to dinner, and he said, "All right, man, let's lay this out. Who's first? Who's second?" And so we had Dick Vermeil, Steven Jackson, JJK was going to take part, Michael Irvin, a handful of people. And I said, I think we go with Michael Irvin first because he's just big name and he's crazy. He's who knows. So we said, yeah, let's just hit him right away. Because Vermeil will be prepared and professional, but probably not as zany as some of the. So we're trying to figure this out. So Michael Irvin gets up there. And, he's like a preacher. He's got the mic. He's like, now listen here. And people are laughing. But it's going for a while. And I'm the MC, but I'm off to the side. And a guy comes up to me and says, hey, get him off the stage. I said, excuse me? They said, it's way too long. We got to get this moving. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, what am I going to like?
Yeah, it's not your problem.
So eventually he stops and sits down, and I got up there and I said, well, this is really uncomfortable. I said, they wanted me to get Michael Irvin off the stage. I said, we all know the only way to stop him was with flashing red lights because he had just been arrested that week in Dallas. Nobody laughed harder than Michael Irvin. He's like slapping his knee and all this stuff. And, you know, then
you got to go in with an open mind and just have fun.
Yes. And everybody there was laughing. And our guy Rodney at the MAC still says to me, I'll never forget that, Mark. You really said some terrible things. I said, yeah, it was great. I love it. So I will go back and watch Dan after I break down the Card Sox weekend. I usually go back and do my own charts on each pitch.
And this is brought to you by the Missouri Athletic Club. Don't forget about the MAC to get your workouts in, great lunches, great dinners. They're going to open up the pool for the kids this summer, Missouri Athletic Club, and that's where Martin and I go in to shape our bodies.
Oh, yeah, look at us.
That's a new tagline. It's where Martin and I go to shape our bodies.
I don't know if that's going to move the needle for them. It was hopping on Saturday. I had to go to the Battlehawks for work, and they had
you were at the downtown location.
People were going in and out because there was a Cardinal game. That's the other thing. If you're a member, you can park there and just take the shuttle bus to Busch or over to the city park. So it was hopping all weekend. Yeah, we love the MAC. Dan, my Cardinals stats. Okay, so I mentioned Elliott was not impressed.
All right, here we go.
I like to come up with a new stat. I don't want to have the same talking points, okay? In non-Sonny Gray starts, okay, he's been really good. They're 11-18 when he doesn't start.
Yeah, I think
he's part of the team. I understand that, but that's pretty telling.
And do it even further, the non-Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson starts, it's really ugly. So you got nothing out of Mats. And then you got nothing out of your four starter.
Michaelis has been a big disappointment. Yeah. The skipper was back.
So you talk when you go, that means Tony.
He was in the building this weekend.
He doesn't
still
quit.
Grinding. He still works for the Sox. I'm like, this team is 6-25, and Friday night there he is. They do a shot of him up in the box making notes, and I'm like, and he still works for Jerry Reinsdorf, so he's still a baseball grinder. I'm like, wow, you really got to love baseball to be sitting there in
or you just don't want to be home.
A May weekend. He just loves this stuff. Our buddy Ed Curtis saw him this weekend. I says, he's still having fun? He goes, oh, yeah, he's talking about the team and breaking it down.
That'd be tough to follow a team that is what, 6 wins, 7 wins?
They were 6-25 coming into the weekend. So you know you're done.
It's over.
There is no
wild card, nothing.
Oh, if we could just get on a run. No, it's over.
Yeah.
That's a long slog, man, and God bless the skipper, Lewis. He's still doing it.
I figured that you would, as tight as you are with, Tony, that you would leave the studio, race down to the ballpark, and then try to tape a podcast with him.
I thought about asking him if he wanted to tape something today, like after the weekend. Hey, how was it like being back? And but
let me ask you.
He's so big. I'm telling you, he's so busy.
All right, let me ask you a question, Tony.
Oh God.
Why are you here?
You mean studio or Cardinal baseball?
A little bit of both.
They just get around Cardinals, man. It's just such a magical time. You can just tell in that ballpark, people are still really excited to be there. It's just a buzz in the air, man.
What about the studio?
Well, Dan's really outdone himself. Really, look around here, man. There's a lot of salutes to him, it looks like. Kind of a big dig me moment here, man. Everything's got his name on it. I get it. Danny Mac. Okay. Big deal. Danny Mac everywhere. Just look around the room, man. I got shirts, hats. Don't say Tony. Don't say Martin. Says Dan.
How would you roast Tony? I mean, you would, because you probably have done it anyway.
We did that one year. It was the writer's dinner. And one year they decided to mix it up, and they made it a Tony roast. Remember that?
I do, yeah.
And I was on the dais, and I got up there, and to my right was Steve Klein and Mike Shannon. And I said, oh, my God, we got Steve Klein and Mike Shannon. I said, does anybody up here even speak the English language properly?
Oh.
And whatever. And then my worst moment, Lou Brock always would give out an award, like the base stealing award, and everybody was like, they never knew what it was about or what it was. It was just fun. But it went on for a little while, and I think I started with, I don't know about you, but, man, I could listen to Lou Brock talk all night. And everybody's like, woo. And I said, And I think I have. And I looked down, and he looked like crestfallen. And I thought, oh, my, that's the worst I've ever felt about a
Yeah, you don't want to do that to Lou.
Oh, it was a funny
the
line.
nicest man ever.
But I just said it. I didn't have it written down. I didn't. I felt like such an asshole. But it was actually funny. But the highlight of that was, John Rooney did a Harry Carey.
Yeah.
And I did Tony, and we did an old school White Sox, the Chicago White Sox. We did a little back and forth.
Yeah.
But the highlight of that one was Bob Knight was on the dais. And I didn't really have Bob Knight material. I didn't even know he was going to be there. I just looked down. I said, hey, look, everybody, Bob Knight's here. And they just roar. And I said, God, he looks miserable. And then he kind of looks over at me with this scowl.
Yeah.
Like he's going to just kick my ass. And he's a big man. And then I said, shocking, you're wearing a sweater. Way to diversify your wardrobe or something like that. Nothing that funny. And then when I left, it was on Campbell X, and I was driving back to Fox 2, and I was listening on the radio, and he gets up there, and he said, well, it's tough night when you get roasted by the great Martin Kilcoyne. And I'm going, holy shit, he said my name. He got it right.
Yeah.
He said my name right. And then he said, yeah, getting roasted by a guy like that, it's like trying to race the one-legged midget. And everybody laughs, ha, ha, ha. And I'm like it's easy prey or whatever. And I'm screaming at the radio, that's a hackneyed joke. Not that funny. Not that funny. Everybody's laughing because it's Bob Knight. I'm like, that joke's not that funny. I still have that audio somewhere. I was so proud.
Well, do you want to go back to the Cardinals?
Let's talk about roast instead. I'm trying to think of all these offensive lines. I can't even repeat them.
It'd be kind of tough to do a Cardinal roast right now.
Oh, I think it'd be great.
I mean, it'd be easy. I mean, there's easy pickings.
Okay, who would? Everybody's upset. Everybody's frustrated. But in all honesty, now let's go through. Who would have the thickest skin?
I think Ollie.
I think, believe it or not, and he comes off very confident, which pisses people off because he can be really cocky. But I think he could live with it. He could handle it.
I do too.
Believe it or not, I think we could say anything. We could make a Napoleon joke.
I think even Mo.
No, I think Mo at this point's been through this. Like
he's been through it. He's seen it all.
Wow, they're booing me again. It's becoming a thing. Like I think he could weather the storm.
I do too. I think,
and people don't want to hear that. They want to know that he's suffering and he's crying and he's in the fetal position. But I don't think he would be. I think the players could live without it. I don't.
I was going to say the players would not.
It's serious to them, and I understand that they don't think it's funny. Now, out of season, you could probably make a joke or two. Remember the Steve Klein line about La Russa said, "Man, I think Jim Hayes says he wrote it for him." But Steve Klein got up there and said, "Hey, yeah, Tony loves animals, man. He loves dogs, he loves cats, and he loves all those animals. It's people he treats like shit," which is a great line. So I don't know that any players would be like a Wilson Contreras could probably laugh about it. Like I could just see his personality could handle it. I think Lance Lynn might actually be okay with it.
Oh, I think he'd be fine with it.
He'd probably think it's funny, and there's certainly some material there.
You just got to let. I mean.
But it's not a good time for that, Dan.
No, go in with an open mind, have a little fun, and move on.
I don't think, and that's why most people don't do it, is they just don't want to go through all that. What are you going to say about me? Oh, no, not that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, for the Cardinals, it's 34 games, Dan. I think what you were alluding to earlier is you can't panic. Remember 20 years ago in Houston, the famous headline in the paper said, like, Astros are done. And I guess that whole year, Larry Durker and the team would, like, put it on the wall. Like, it really ticked them off, and they kept talking about it. I don't think this team is the 2004 Astros. I don't think they're going to go on any kind of run and end up in the NLCS. I could be wrong.
I said from the get-go, first month of the season plus, probably be 4 below or 4 above. Get in that range.
But what's changing? Like, what's coming along?
Well, the thing that concerns me is the hitting, and that's been the hitting since day one, and I'm not seeing anything to make me think, okay, I'm seeing some signs. I'm seeing a little bit out of Arenado. Thought I was seeing Goldie, but he's kind of reverted back. And you got these young kids that just have not taken their game to another level. I mean, they've got nothing out of the center field spot. I mean, Victor Scott hit .085. Siani's hitting .120. They bring up Dylan Carlson for a little spark. We'll see what happens with that. Newpar has not been hitting. It's just collectively in a slump. And maybe this is who they are. I don't know. time will tell. But, man, is it tough to watch offensively. It's really tough.
The two best teams in baseball right now are the Orioles and the Phillies in terms of record. One team built it. That's Baltimore. The other team bought it. That's the Phillies. They go out and buy the best players. The Orioles took their lumps, and now they have a young team. They built it. So do you build it or do you buy it? Well, the Cardinals tried to do – it sounds like a segment for you. Dan, you can have that on 101.
Thank you.
Build it or buy it. When we come back, build it or buy it. But
They're
I
kind
feel
of in between right now.
The Cardinals do a little bit of buying, a little bit of building, but the new parts and the old parts aren't really meshing. Neither are really coming together. And it's not like – you have Arnott on the injured list saying, well, once he comes back, we'll be fine. It's not like there's a kid in Memphis. You're like, well, once we call him up, look out. There really isn't any promise of something coming around the corner. And things can change.
It's kind of like last year. You're waiting for Walker to do what he did. Come back and be a better player, be a better hitter.
You just sort of wonder, there's a fluky thing in 2021, the 17-game winning streak. You give them credit. They got in, got the winning streak. 2022, if Albert doesn't happen, that second half was they've kind of been this team for a while outside of a couple of really fluky things, the winning streak and Albert's second half. Those two things I think have masked a lot of the overall malaise of the franchise, and you can't take that away. Those things happened. They were real. They did win 17 in a row. Albert did take over on a tear in the second half. But outside of that, you're like, I don't know. It's kind of got the same vibe of 16, 17, 18 where, I don't know, they're just not.
Something's not clicking.
Something's not clicking. And you know, I think Mo at some point, I don't think I'm going out on a limb. I think either end of the season, maybe even during the season, he'll announce, hey, I'm going to move into a separate role, which I think the fans that's what they want. But I think that's sort of in the works already. Question is then, okay, does it change your leadership structure? Who's in charge? Does the vision change? You know, I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I do think at some point you'll see some kind of front office maneuvering.
I was shocked to watch Fox 2 this weekend.
Not on Sunday night because the Netflix special was on.
And you were high-fiving Anthony Becht.
No.
It was incredible. The Battlehawks head coach came through the tunnel. You're there doing a pregame show, and you're like, hey, coach, go get him. High five, pat on the rear. And they came out and dominated again. These
great.
Battlehawks are something to watch. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, I will tell
This is something to watch. Don't take your eyes off the Battlehawks.
Oh, you're being sarcastic.
No, I'm not.
They're a good team. That's what makes it more fun. Yes, St. Louis likes having a football team that they can call their own. That's part of this. But they're also pretty good. McCarron threw 3 more touchdown passes. This Akeem Butler is like 6'5".
He's pretty good.
He was live on our L.A. Davis threw it to, okay, Martin is standing by with one of your favorite Hawks or whatever it was. But that Hakeem Butler, he's like a head taller than me. He was a 4th-round pick, kicked around a little bit, got injured with the Steelers. I'm like, he's a beast. I'm like, how could he not be in the NFL? I don't get it.
I just wonder when I'm watching this, and maybe you would offer seriously some perspective on this. And I wanted to ask Anthony Becht last week. We had him on 101. I can understand the talent gap between an NFL player and what is equivalent of minor league football. But how far is that gap, and how close are some of these guys? And does it just come down to playing and getting a chance, to where like Kurt Warner was buried with the Green Bay Packers, got a chance, made the most of it? Are there more stories like that we don't hear about, to where, and hopefully you're following me on this, how far is Akeem Butler from being a guy that could start on Sundays?
I guarantee, or not even start, but be on a team.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee he's better than.
So how far is that gap?
And I guarantee, though, he's better than some guys who are wide receivers in the NFL. It's just circumstance. Well, that guy was drafted and he's been on the team, or the personnel guy really believes in him, whatever it is. I just think a lot of it is circumstance. Maybe you were shining and then you got injured at the wrong time and they had to move some money around, whatever. There are guys playing in this UFL that are certainly NFL capable. The game is fun because they win and fans get into it. Anthony Becht was on our pregame show.
See, I told you I was watching.
It was really loud, and I couldn't really hear everything he said. So when the game ends, we're outside the tunnel because now we got to do some postgame stuff. And he goes, Martin. I said, yeah, what's up? He goes, I'm sorry. I think I called you Mike during the pregame. And I said, it's okay. I said, I couldn't hear you anyway. He goes, I'm sorry, man. He goes, I think I said Mike.
And there you have it.
And I said, do you think he thought I was Mike Bush?
Maybe.
Wow.
And there you have it.
That's what it was?
Could have been.
There you have it. Let's check in on the Battlehawks, which will be featured on Sports Plus. Here's Frank on Sports Plus. That's how you have to say it.
Have you talked to Mike much?
Mike Bush?
Yeah, you don't see him around anymore.
No, I don't really see him around.
I haven't seen him for years.
I think the last time I saw him was at Dick Ford's funeral.
Is that right?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. And he was I did some stuff, spoke, and he was very complimentary and nice, and he and I get along just great. But I don't know if that's who Anthony Beck was thinking of. And then I'm leaving the Dome. This will affect your self-esteem, Dan. So the coach thinks my name is Mike. Okay, fine. Then I'm walking from the Dome. I parked at the MAC, and I'm walking that way. And this guy, I thought the car was going to hit me, and I'm like getting out of the way. And then he rolls down the window, and he screams, "Kill cut! Kill cut!" And I said, yeah, how you doing? He's like, "Kill cut, man, I watch you all the time." I said, "Oh, okay. Are they spelling my name wrong on TV?"
Did you say that?
Yes.
Did he laugh? Did he know?
He didn't get it.
He didn't get it at all?
Man, I love your stuff. I said, "Oh, thank you." I've been called a lot of things. I've never before been called Kill cut.
I could understand that because you go on the radio and just bury people. You're a cutter.
Oh, that's what so it's a nickname.
That's what I'm saying, the cutter.
So I'll tell Beck, don't call me Mike. You call me Kill Cut. Put some respect on my name.
The
Put
cutter.
some respect on my name. How about the Battlehawks this Saturday at Birmingham? And I know you don't really care that much, and it's okay.
I follow it.
But it's kind of, if you're going to have a team, it's at least interesting if they're good. And
and at home.
Yeah, and at home
because these
fun.
Games on the road are tough to watch. There's nobody there.
But I wonder, and I don't know, will some fans, because they're really into it, will some fans go to Birmingham?
That's interesting.
It's a Saturday game. Birmingham's 6-0, so they're the top team in the league. Battlehawks are 5-1, and even AJ McCarron said, "Man, I'm going to get hit up." He's from Alabama. He goes, "It'll be fun to be home. If y'all are listening," he said, "I'm not buying you tickets. You can buy, what are they, $12 or something?"
Whatever.
He goes, "I'm not buying all you guys tickets." So there's a couple of different storylines, and the pregame coverage starts at 2:30 with Battlehawks Game Day Live.
Oh, you're going to do another one?
Yes.
You going to go to Birmingham?
I will not be there. We will have some live pictures. We've got an affiliate down there, Dan. We'll be working with our Next Star sister station.
That's great.
We'll
that's
have
adorable.
Somebody from down there, and I'll be
It's adorable how you guys come together. It's family.
Thank you. Well, for a game like this.
What did you have on your notes?
We
We didn't really cover anything on your notes, I don't think.
I had Kill Cut on there. Pete, not that you care, but this is like sports radio guy. I always write stuff down just in case we need it. Pete DeBoer is the head coach of the Dallas Stars.
Is he now 8-0 in Game 7?
Yes. Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah.
And so and he's not a huge name. I know in the hockey world he's well known, but the average fan doesn't know Pete DeBoer. I remember when he was with the Sharks, always going up against the Blues. Beat Ken Hitchcock in 2016 in that series. That was the team we really thought, they're going to make this great run. The Rams have left, and everybody was excited about the Blues. David Backus' final game out in San Jose. We did an interview. I remember he's crying. He knew his St. Louis run was over. But DeBoer was the coach there. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals. I think he went Stanley Cup Finals with New Jersey. So I looked up his record. I said, how is this guy not even more celebrated? He's made it to conference finals and Stanley Cup Finals several times and never won anything. But along the way, I guess he's won a lot of Game 7s. That's a pretty damn good record, 8-0.
We're brought to you by Triad Bank, and I want to give a shout-out to our buddy Jim Regna.
He retired from Triad Bank.
Retired. I think it was officially mentioned last week. I didn't know that until I ran into some of the folks from Triad at the Missouri Athletic Club during lunch, and I found out that Jim Regna retired. So a shout-out to Jim, one of the finest people we have worked with in this business, no doubt.
He's done a great job with Triad Bank. Really, I think his leadership, helped further their brand, further their name around town. They've got 2 locations, not just the Clayton one. They added the one on Olive. I know Charlie Wiegers has taken over. They got a great team that'll continue the work at Triad Bank, being a St. Louis-based bank, which is something you and I always highlight, which is great.
Also, shout out to Randy Fuse, who checked on.
Oh, I'm mad at them.
Well, hold on. He checked out our family this morning because my little guy missed the carpool with Randy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he missed carpool. Randy, though, was so kind to check in, and that's what he'll do for every family. If something's going on,
he'll pick me up and take me to
he will
school?
pick you up. He'll do whatever you need. Just go to fuse.com, and new or used cars are also the athletic programs that they have at Lou Fuse Automotive. Why are you mad at them?
Well, I'm mad at Lou Fuse Athletics.
Just tread lightly.
No, because
they're a great sponsor.
No, I love Lou Fuse and I love Randy, but they beat our lacrosse team yesterday, so I'm mad.
Okay.
Because they thumped us pretty good in 14 and under girls lacrosse.
Okay, you can be mad about that.
That's what I'm mad at.
Randy might be smiling underneath.
All politics are local, Dan, and because now we took care of Samurai.
Yeah, that's funny.
We had a big comeback against Samurai, but then we fell to the Lou Fuse squad. Those little buggers, as Hanny would say, were running all over the place.
Sure.
Firing that rocket all over. But we're also in the Pasta House studios. Kids eat free on Sundays. PastaHouse.com, where you can order your food online. Everything's made fresh daily. You know, these days, Dan and I will start our day with a 4 a.m. steam at the Mac, and then maybe we'll have a little lunch over at the Pasta House. Great food, great people at your neighborhood-friendly Pasta House. You have appliance discounters. Real simple, theappliancediscounters.com for all your appliance needs. And Marita Villas Senior Living. We've got some great commercials running on Fox 2 right now. Our buddy Fred's got a slick spot. Marita Villa's been there since 1960. Beautiful campus in West County. Take a virtual tour at maritavilla.com. What else, Dan? What do you got on your note? You don't have any notes.
No, I come in with
You
mental
did offer
notes.
me a coffee, which was nice.
I did. I want to tell everybody, too, about the Ascension Charity Classic. AscensionCharityClassic.com for your tickets with the senior event that's coming to St. Louis yet again in September, and that is AscensionCharityClassic.com to get those tickets.
I was texting our old buddy Nick Ragone, who moved on to a new job out east, who did a great job launching the Ascension Charity Classic, because Harrison Bader's in town with the New York Mets, and nobody loved Harrison Bader more than Nick Ragone, and Ragone loves the Mets, and now it's the perfect deal because Bader's on the Mets, and they're doing some children's hospital visits.
Oh, cool. Has he been back since he left St. Louis?
Bader, yes, with the Yankees. I think it wasn't long after the trade, or was it the next year? I'm forgetting.
I was thinking about the standing O that he may get.
He came back with the Yankees, and it was funny because he had his haircut, and everybody said, oh, my gosh, what happened to the Bader hair? He said, can't do it with the Yankees. But shout out to Harrison for doing some hospital visits.
That's cool.
After getting back in,
he really
town.
Tried to get involved in the community and did a good job with that,
and he's
too.
still doing it, which is, even though he's not living here or playing here, but you made me think of that when you mentioned the Ascension Charity Classic. Had me thinking of Nick Ragone.
Any more notes?
I think we're good, buddy.
Okay.
I think we're good. If it would kill you, if next Sunday, if it would kill you, wouldn't kill you, watch Sports Final. Thanks. Battlehawks pregame Saturday at 2:30.
I'll check that out.
Get Randy Fuse. Have him pick some people up. Bring them over to your house and watch the pregame. We'll be slapping butts at 2:30 on Saturday. What a terrible narrative. Soccer, by the way, where this whole nonsense started, they tied over the weekend. They're 2-1-7. Really interesting.
Thanks, Cutter. Thanks for coming in.
Kill Cut, bringing you some great talk.
This has been
Great Talk.